All right, welcome everybody to Directory webinar number 41. Today we're going to be continuing on with the Directory Startup series. We went over some business plan basics, and no, we don't get scared off by that business plan basis. This is basically stuff that could help anybody in the directory, whether they're starting out or have already deep dived into the business realm with their brilliant directory site. But today we're gonna we'll review a little bit about what we already went over, but we're gonna go farther down the path there and talk about vision, mission, and purpose for your directory, your business. So I'd like to welcome everybody on board today. Welcome Anthony, Chris, Paula, Scott, and Dan. I don't know if you wrote Dam. I don't know if that was a typo mistake, if it's supposed to be Dan, or maybe that is your name. I'm not sure. But as always, feel free to jump on the audio or video whenever you want to jump in, say hi, ask a question, and don't be afraid to interrupt. We're not as formal as some of the other webinars here. I'm presenting some stuff today, but looking to get some feedback or discussion from the crowd as well. So again, if for some reason I mute you during the presentation, feel free to unmute yourself and jump in. So I'll just open it up for any questions there. Looks like Scott's on the horn there and muted though. Feel free to unmute yourself there, Scott. Anybody else wants to jump in and say hi or ask a question as well, feel free to do that. What we normally try to do at the beginning of the meeting is answer any BD questions or other stuff like that as well, or talk about directory stuff, and then we can get into the presentation for today as well. So how's everybody doing? I know I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. Hello, and feel free to jump in and say hi.
Hola, senor. How are you?
Good, you?
Doing well.
Did you see my fancy new countdown intro today? I thought I'd throw that up there and, get rid of the blank monotony at the beginning if you jump in early. So,
is that specific to this platform you're using now, or is that something that you just built in and that you're doing? Is it a screen share kind of thing, or is it?
That's just that was just a YouTube video.
Oh,
I went poor man's execution there and just pull up a cool video somebody had already did for me. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. All good here. Just I'm taking a page out of Frank Falcone's business plan book, and I'm going fees for services rather than fees for membership. So we're going to work on a little transition there and see how that goes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think, it's one of those, we can talk about that a little bit. It ends up being one of those, I guess, potentially beneficial, potentially worse, right, depending on how you execute it. But usually there's a lot higher upside to breaking out like that one, because it's maybe smaller chunks, but sometimes they end up paying more than they originally would for the entire membership, and it's not necessarily capped, or in their brain it's it's a little bit more transactional, I guess. Or they know what they're getting for the price, and it ends up being a little bit better for them mentally as well. So
yeah.
Hey, I was going to tell you, I drove. So for those of you who are not familiar, Scott has a directory on car racing. I know this isn't necessarily in your lane directly. It was NASCAR, but I had never driven by this. I was driving back from Frank's, actually. I was coming through Pennsylvania, I think, and I took a detour. I was going through the non-toll way, so I didn't have to pay Pennsylvania my entire pension and to get across the state. And I literally was driving through in the middle of the woods and nowhere, and I opened up I'd never driven through the Poconos, and all of a sudden, like, boom, NASCAR racetrack out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, it was just the middle of nowhere. So
that's a huge track too. That is one of the only tracks in NASCAR that is independently owned still.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. It's owned by they're not owned by either the Daytona Group, the International Motorsports Corporation, IMC, or Performance Racing, Speedway Motorsports down in Charlotte. So they're one of the two that is not owned by one of those two conglomerates. And then Dover, I think, I'm not sure if Dover's still independent or not, but anyway.
Okay.
It's a great track, and you're right, it is in the absolute middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it totally caught me by surprise. There's been a couple other things like that, throughout my life. I just can't remember what they are to throw them out here. But, where you just kind of stumble upon them, you're like, whoa, what is that doing here? Or you didn't know it was there. And I literally just rounded the hill, and I'm like, there's some big lights over in the distance. I'm like, I don't even see a town. And then we went past the woods, and I'm like, track. So,
yep, very cool. Did you go see Frank recently, or was this your?
No, that was my original one a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to reach out to him after the meeting here, probably see how he's doing. So still, I think I think he's at home now, but still trying to figure out exactly what the deal is. So,
yep.
But anyway, so did you have any other stuff any snags or any other issues directory wise or questions there, Scott? Since I get out to you on the horn, I'll ask you first since you're on here. But
no, you know what? It's just when you go from paid membership focus to a conversion membership focus, you got to go through all the workflows and make sure that you're turning off the paid and making sure they're free. It's just a little bit more of a process than I thought it was going to be to make sure that all the workflows are right for how I'm adapting things. So
yeah, and that's one thing I'd throw out for everybody watching live here on the recording is a lot of times, I mean, although it's set up in BD to automate, there, if you change one thing, it'll change another kind of stuff. So I always recommend if you make any changes, or just even if you don't, to be honest, just run through the scenarios of how you're gonna talk to people, what emails they're gonna get or whatever, because it's those small things where there's like a default email template and they get it and they're like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense with what you told me on the sign up page. And then they end up not signing up, and you're like sitting in the room going, where is everybody, or why aren't they doing X, Y, or Z? And it's because they didn't know that they had to do X, right?
Thank you for mentioning emails, because the email template that goes out with my memberships I had forgotten about that piece of it. So yes.
There we go. So, but just kind of walk through all those and see to make sure that it makes sense for a user. Obviously, just make sure your user. And the best method always, of course, is to use your mom, right? Have mom be your first user there, and she's definitely going to come up with some questions and understand. Toby, welcome. Anthony, you said there's no mic, so welcome. If I don't get any other questions, I know I just emailed you back with some of the stuff you asked on. So if you want me to go over one of those things on the call just live, I won't be able to do it on your site necessarily, because I don't have access to it. Unless you want to give me some admin credentials privately in the messenger, but I'll just kind of answer maybe a question on one of those if you want live here. So just shout back if you want me to go over something. And then Paula, again, yeah, everybody can make a appointment with me whenever you guys want. I'm just gonna screen share here real quick and just show you guys where that is at. I'm gonna drop that in the chat here. If you guys go to Directory Toolkit, and this is I think you guys can figure that one out spelling wise. I won't even throw it in there. DirectoryToolkit.com. Once that loads, I do have another scheduling site or whatever to get directly to that, but it is on the main page of this as well. Just let that load. And then down at the bottom of the page, there's going to be a section here for book a consultation. And then after that loads, you'll be able to pick a time on my calendar there. So just go ahead and go scroll to the bottom of the page, Paula, or anybody else. If you want to grab a time with me, just do it here as soon as that loads. There it is. So looks like 9:30 tonight's my only time for today. But anyway, so you just pick on another day, grab a time, and schedule the length or type of meeting. If you just want it, if you're already a client, want to do a consultation call or a free initial consultation for 30 minutes and not an existing invoice call, just so you can do the same thing by here. Just hit schedule now to open up for times there as well. So anyway, so that's how you do that. Paula or anybody else on there if you want to grab a time, but definitely we can discuss. So let me get back to the chat here. Let's see. Hey, Anthony. Yeah, so just let me know what topic set you want me to talk about, and I can go over that. So I think we talked about this last meeting, and I just want to reiterate this one, is this is going to be huge once they get it going. But they're working on, and I'm going to keep mentioning it on my webinars too, so put some pressure on them and make sure that they do it. They're going to be doing a Zapier integration, they said, by July. So, which looking at my watch is less, about a month away or less. So, hopefully they'll have that ready to go. And then if they get a Zapier integration going, it'll be a lot easier for everybody to tie in their marketing messages or anything like that with their email or just really any other system to pull the data. And I think it's initially just going to be a billing transaction type trigger, and then just kind of content data from the user data table, like name, email, that kind of stuff, to port it over to another system. So that was the two focus items that they were initially going to start out with.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. I don't know why it was kind of one of those inevitable things. I think everybody, kind of was going that direction with Zapier or Pabbly or Integromat or, something else, or SpiderSync. Those are starting to multiply as well, about as many different ways to do that. And unfortunately, I mean, it's not unfortunate. I mean, it's better to have competition, but as soon as you get like 10 different integrators too, now everybody's now they're going to complain like, oh, you have Zapier integration. Where's your Pabbly Connect integration or yours? But now everybody's going to be complaining about the type of integration that they have. It's just one of those things. But yeah, having Zapier is obviously the giant in the room there. So if they get that going, that'd be awesome to integrate that a little bit easier.
Hey, one thought I want to offer kind of a compliment. I know there's been some messages on the Facebook group about load times on mobile and all that stuff, and they were going to be fixing it or whatever. I'm not sure when they changed it or whatever, but I was checking on mobile today with my site, and it's loading pretty darn quick on mobile. So it seems as though BD has done what they needed to do to get the load times up or down on mobile. So. Anyway,
and I hate to be a Debbie Downer too for people that are like, oh, it needs to be X, Y, or Z. Well, I'll be honest. Nobody here that's listening is like paying rocket speed prices for BD, right? I mean, you paid a lot for the license, right? But realize it's a lifetime license, and you're on a shared server, and so that you gotta. Everybody has to understand that it's on a shared server, and it's a pretty complex, CMS system and database stuff. It's just not like loading a couple words in an image, that's on a HTML file. It's like pulling stuff from databases and all that stuff. So there always is the option to when you have a certain requirement or you want to pay for a certain requirement or whatever, they have dedicated servers and larger, higher speed setups, right, for you to move to if you want to pay that. And then I hate to put people in the spot like that. If you don't want to pay for that, you don't want to go over to the faster thing. You kind of have to live with the shared server, right? Because that's kind of all you're paying for, to be honest. I'll be frankly honest. I mean, because the pricing that they're able to do for a lifetime license is amazing, especially since they provide support. So, so that's always available. And if anybody wants to pay the nice big price for a private server for a BD setup, please use my affiliate link. I'll put that. I'll put that into the chat. I'm joking. But Paul is asking what the starting rate for upgrade for speed. Now, it's not like an upgrade speed. It's not like you're saying pay us this amount of money and we can give you speed. It's basically the difference between having your own resources on a server and not having to share that with all the other sites that are on a server. Because I don't know how many sites are on a particular server. It may be 100 different sites that are sharing your disk space. So let's say we have a server farm with a server, an actual server and a storage space, or whatever. There's a lot of sites that are on that computer running. It's kind of like having my computer always runs slow because I have 100 tabs open, right? Or different programs open in the background. If you have all those running at the same time, it's going to be slower. The response time is going to be slower. Speed's going to be slower, etc. Welcome, Rich. So,
hey, howdy.
So when you have all those stacked down there, it's just inherently going to run slower because everybody's sharing. If you're going to pay to have your own stuff there, it's just going to be faster because literally your site is the only one loading. So I think it's pretty pricey, to be honest, but because you're getting the whole enchilada of the server, and we're talking like multi terabytes of data in your own quad or 8plex server thing or whatever, and I think it's like $400 a month, to be honest. It's up in that range, so it costs quite a bit. But again, if you need to go to that because your site's so big or you're worried about that, well, then you got to put the money where the request is. So, but yeah, you get the support obviously for a managed server as well, Paul. Yeah, obviously it's they're running everything for you. So there's a lot to be said about paying for that. But and I'll show everybody where that's at as well. While we're on that. So on the so there, I already talked about that. Okay. So let me share my screen a second. So if you go to the BD site, and again, if this is interested from anybody there on doing that private server, and there may be other options. You may want to ask them again. I don't know. I don't even know how often they update this stuff because the I don't know how many people actually take them up on it. But let me go to website services here. Just go to add-on and website services, and premium hosting right here on the side or right there. Premium hosting, view details. And so that was close, but actually a little bit low, right? They have a dedicated server, and then they've got an enterprise server that's even bigger. So we're talking, 2 terabytes of a hard drive for that one. But that one's got, you can run up to 50 of your own websites on there, and it's got 18 core Intel server for that. That's strictly just for your sites. 50 or 1, right? If that's just you. So that's the premium hosting stuff. And a lot of people gloss over that, and they argue about the one-time pricing again. So there it is. There's the stuff if you're interested. All right. So Anthony, jump on the chat there if you want me to talk over something specific, please, and I'll talk about that. Rich, anything new with you?
Everything. All right.
Yeah.
How much time you have?
Podcasting, and you've gone into graphic design and opera singing. That's kind of a weird combo, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, if I moved to Austin, Texas, that would work, as they want to keep everything weird there. Apparently, yeah. So that'd be perfect.
That's true. I just drive right through Austin.
I
do love Boston, though.
Yeah, just kind of pursuing, but it's a larger project than anticipated. But I'm very excited about the adding, authors to the platform, writers and authors. So that's kind of my main focus right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And I did have a technical question, either at the beginning and end. It's pretty straightforward. It's just kind of memory recall. I've tweaked the member dashboard based on whether they completed their dashboard or not. And now I want to just make a minor change to one of the links. And I kind of forgot, that process of how to do that again. Yeah. Because I know at one point you I changed the dashboard and I have a link in there, but then I also go and have to change the CSS code and copy it so that all of the dashboards kind of sync up, if that makes sense or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me roll. Anthony, I'll get to your question here in a second. I'm going to ask, Rich asked his before I started a question. So I'll get to you in a second after we talk to Rich here. So I just logged into yours.
Yeah, Directory. Cool.
Let me make sure that I'm not displaying. Let me stop to share here real quick.
Doesn't matter.
I'm sure I'm on an appropriate screen here to share. There we go. So you're asking about the dashboard widget. So
yeah, the dashboard widgets, and I know I can go in there and change the icons that I have. For example, it's basically like our mission. I've created a new page for that.
Okay. So let me do some background here for everybody on the call that may not be familiar with this. So what Rich is talking about, I'm just going to go log in as one of his members. So I'm just going to go to his search members thing here, log in as a person, and let me know which one has the dashboard in question here. And I'll log in. What kind of membership type?
So the one it looks like I fixed was podcaster, but the one that I'm having challenges with a guest member. So if you click on one of the podcasters first, you'll see
Rising Star guests.
That's fine. Yeah, you can do that one as a login. Yeah.
Okay. So there's an option in BD, and I'm going to show you guys where this is at first, and then we'll go look at this inside of the finance and membership plans. there is an option in there to add a dashboard widget that shows a custom widget that you make of your own accord and add it to the actual dashboard of somebody's account when they log in. And the cool thing about this inside of BD is you can add this per membership level. So each membership level can have a different dashboard widget and basically create a different atmosphere, a different effect and focus items, whatever you want to show them on each particular membership plan. So it's pretty powerful. But where you want to go in here on the particular membership plan is you want to click edit. And once you load that, and this may answer your question here, Rich, as I'm talking about this, but you want to edit that. And then once you're inside of the membership level settings, you want to go, again, this is the members dashboard item, right? So you want to go to that tab. And down here at the bottom is the custom dashboard content. And so you have an option to add a header content and footer content. The header obviously is above all of the stuff in the dashboard, and the footer is at the bottom. And so what you would want to do is make a custom widget first by going into your toolbox and widget manager and creating a brand new widget with some sort of content. And then after you make that widget, it's going to show up with all your custom widgets here. And you're going to want to pick one of those, that custom widget that you made just for the dashboard. And again, just as a best case way to do that, which we did for Rich's here, just add in your widget title dashboard and then the title, just so it's easy to find in the D's, right? Dashboard. And so you don't have to go find a random name somewhere in the list. So that's what I always recommend, trying to keyword it in your titles. Just like I always try to add custom to any custom widgets that I add as well, if it's just kind of generic, just so you can find those. But anyway, so then you pick that dashboard widget. And then what happens is once they log in, you get something like this. Now, normally your account would look like this, right, with stuff that you've turned on or off. I mean, you may not have some of these items depending on whether you have turned those on or off in that dashboard options here. Again, remember, all this stuff is the dashboard display settings. You could turn off the QR code, which is showing on his, turn off the account details, etc. But assuming you have some stuff on, this is what it would look like. Well, what that dashboard widget does is it allows you to add stuff in the footer down here at the bottom, or more commonly utilized up here below the My Dashboard above everything else. And so what Rich has done is basically created a custom widget in here that has additional feature items of stuff that he's trying to highlight, stuff that he upgrade wants them to do, right? And then can change this stuff. So his question today, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, is how do you change one of the icons, correct? Is that what
and really the link. So under mission, if you hover over mission, and if you look, see where it's going to mission, it should be going to a new thing just called /good instead of mission. So I'm trying to redirect that link.
Okay. So, and then the easy way to do this, I'm going to show you guys this as well. If you guys click the visit website from your dashboard, it's going to open up the home page with an additional admin bar over here. Now we could go find it with that dashboard and the naming convention, right, that we used. But what you can do to go find that is on the membership dashboard, just go see, what widget was being called for that particular membership level, and then go edit that widget. But I'm going to show you the kind of the back way to do that. So here's the admin panel over here. After you open that up, what I recommend just doing is go grab that other URL, just paste it into this window that has the admin bar in there, and then that will reload that admin bar for that new page before. And so now you'll see the difference between the old one and the new one is it's going to have that admin bar in here. And then you want to click this little search bar or search thing with the plus on it. It's the Show Widgets button. And when we click on that, what it's going to do is basically highlight all the different widgets that are already built in there, but it's also going to show the custom one that we have edited. So you'll notice the stuff in red is the default stuff. If it's in blue, that means you or someone else has edited that particular widget. And so we're just going to scroll down until we see this, and it says the widget dashboard guest, all right? And we could have figured that out again based on, I messed with that, but it would say dashboard guest right there, or you can just do it this other way. And so the good thing about this one is if you guys just click on, if you open that up with the widget view, you can just click the widget link there in blue, and it'll automatically open up that widget in the back end with your admin account for you to edit. If there's a multiple names of that, it may show up on a list. So, for example, this one had a widget for the text, and a widget, the actual widget. So it showed twice, but it'll at least get you in the ballpark there. And we wanted to edit that dashboard guest. So we'll go ahead and click edit. Now, one thing I'll throw out there too, if you guys are designing this, hopefully they'll edit this later. I'm going to remind them again because they've been doing a lot of this, adding the Ferralla editors in different spots. Or for right now, there's no editor here to get you the HTML. You just have to use raw code. So what I normally recommend is grabbing, either designing it in the My Content web page builder, or if you're not,
actually right. Yeah. That's actually what I did. So I have it created, and so I would just go to that and then copy the code and just paste it in there.
Yeah. So let me just go over that for everybody else who doesn't know what I mean by that. So in the My Content web page builder, let's say this is dashboard guest widget. You still want it in a widget form because that's what you're picking to add in the dashboard. But because this does not have the designer as of yet, one workaround to that is to create a new web page. Don't worry. Rich, I'm not going to actually save this, but what you can do is make a new web page again. Maybe you could even use the same title, right?
Actually, I do already have that web page already created.
Dashboard guest. Okay. Yeah. So let's just go do that. Anyway, you would add that, you would paste that widget code in there and just save it and then edit it in that web page. And once you're done editing, you can go grab it and put it back into the widget. So which is what we're going to do right now. So the way to edit this keyword, just type in guest again, if that's what he had, and it should filter out by just those pages. And dashboard guest, is that it? Oh, right here, dashboard guest. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to edit that one. And then we're going to go edit that link. And you'll see how much easier it is here once it's in here to edit that. All you have to do is click on that and go edit link on the button. And then you already have that updated here, right?
Yeah.
And now we just have to update the widget.
Well, the same thing is on the picture. I think I did the picture as well, or the image.
So now what you would want to do, if you were pasting in here first, you would want to click this little code view, paste that stuff in from the widget. Now we're going to do the opposite, right? So we're going to go to the code. We've edited the widget. We're just going to go copy all of that content again, right?
And right, I was trying to do that, but then it looked different. See how it doesn't?
It shouldn't look different. So we'll put it in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was maybe highlight it. My Control A button is not working. I have no idea. The A button works. If anybody else has seen this before, let me know in the chat. My Control A to copy does not work. The A button works. The Control button works because I use it for Control Copy and Control Paste. So the Control button works. The A button works, but the Control A to highlight stuff no longer works. It's blowing my mind. I can't figure it out. I have no idea why. I just stopped working all of a sudden, and it's driving me crazy.
Mine is Control C and then V, but for copy and paste. But
I mean A to highlight everything.
Okay.
You can highlight and then copy. Yeah. Control A is select all, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's in there. We'll hit save, and then we'll refresh. So, and then obviously, if you edit the page, you want to make sure, obviously, that you go back to the view page. Sometimes it doesn't save properly if you have it in the code view. So go back to this view and then hit save if you made any changes. And then we're going to refresh this just to make sure it works. And you said it looked different on here once you did that?
Well, it just wasn't going to the right link, but I think I was, it looked different. I think I was copying like the page before they logged in. Yeah, there it is. So now it's correct. See where it says good? Yeah.
So one other item here, Rich, which I might suggest, if you're on the back end of this thing and you hit tab, it'll make another row. Right. What I might recommend is putting all these down in the bottom here, so they're not all staggered for the buttons. It's kind of up to you, but you know what I mean, just to make it look a little cleaner. But it's up to you.
I'm not sure if I follow what you said.
Like this, it bounces up. It's a little bit higher. This one's a little bit lower.
Oh yeah.
Is that something that you'd want to do, or?
Sure, if we can fix that. I mean, because it's part of like the copy and pasting the image and then getting that, to align. Yeah, I think I was going into the other widget instead of this one when I tried to copy and paste, but. And while you're doing that, so basically that changes all of the guest, all the dashboards kind of at once, because I have them all saved in the membership levels. So I might have.
Yeah, so that's why you want to do it as a widget for everybody watching.
Perfect,
because you had, and that's the awesome thing about widgets.
Yeah.
You change the widget once, and that changes it everywhere where the widget is at. So that's the reason you really want to do that.
Yeah, because I have like, half dozen different guest membership levels. And so because the widgets I created at one time, and I did that drop down that you showed earlier where, so anybody that's a guest that logs into their dashboard, regardless of what membership level, they're going to see that same dashboard. Yeah.
Right.
And I did the same. The podcaster, I think I got right. Now I got to do the resource now that I see what you're doing here. Yeah. And I could have just created the.
So I'll move it down a little bit, but I think it'll look better being even.
Even Steven. Yeah, because for our mission page, we launched our GoFundMe page. Oh yeah, that looks great.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me go back to the room there. I need my chat room reader here. So anybody have any questions on that?
Quick question.
Yeah.
So you're doing that as an alternative to giving each membership level a different custom dashboard then?
Well, no. Well, he's saying that like he has different guest levels, or I think all the guest levels have this.
Yeah.
Or the rising star level of every method. I'm not sure which one, but he's doing is adding that same widget for multiple levels, but there are some that have different than this. Yeah, so it all comes down to which ones you have selected in the settings.
Yeah, because I know it was nice to find that in the membership and then each individual membership level, you can actually create with the text editor a different custom dashboard for each individual membership you have.
Oh, you're right. So that's a great point. I see what you're asking, Scott. This is brand new.
That was where BD directed me when I had that question about, hey, how do I add more up here for this member level, but not for this member level?
That's a great point. And so they used to not have that. So
Ryan, if you log into one of our other members, you'll see a completely different dashboard. So if you go back to the members and pick
let me go over this real quick, because this is new. And in fact, you may want to switch to this because I just realized they didn't fix the widget editor, but they fixed it here with this workaround. So thanks, Scott, I think this is your question, and this is relatively new, and we already had this set up, Rich, before this got turned on.
Okay.
But this is a good question. So you can now select use text editor here. And it will load an editor here, so you can just go ahead and add your that widget code or whatever right here, and then just edit it visually here instead.
Okay, yeah.
So the problem with that, Scott, though, again, and why I still think you probably maybe want to use the widget and wait for the other thing there, Rich, is because that when you update the widget, that updates everywhere. This one, if you have the same content in 3 different areas, you're going to have to log into each membership level and change it 3 times. Right.
Yeah, and I have like 50 different membership levels. Yeah. Some inactive, some active, and
so I don't think this is the better way to do that. Yeah. The better way to do this is to have this in the widget editor. Like when you open the widget, you would be able to edit the widget through this to get the HTML. While we're on this topic, though, this is brand new. Something I asked 2 webinars ago, and they've already executed it. Is they now have the pre-made elements for all of these. Not necessarily all of them, but most of what you see is what you get editors now. So used to have that drag and drop stuff only on the web page stuff, but now you have these pre-made elements. So what it does is it opens up a pop-up on the side here. So when you click on pre-made elements, all of those pre-made elements are now in a little pop-up. and
Wow.
you guys can you can drag and drop that into here, just like and close that out, just like you used to be able to have on the other page developer.
Right.
So that's huge. Because again, otherwise you would have had to do what we just did, where you go into the page editor, design it with the drag and drop elements what you want, and then come back in here or copy the code, paste the code back in here. Now all the pre-made elements are in a pop-out window. So that is as of a couple weeks ago, but has been a great addition. All right, let me get to the question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Maybe Ryan, real quick, since you're already right there, maybe just click on another membership level so visually they can see where if a member is not upgraded or got their profile to 100%. Just click on a member that, and I'll show it right on the first list of members. Somebody that just has our PD, hasn't updated their profile.
Yeah.
Scroll down just here to that one, the Clean right there.
Okay, because and you notice he's in the new category, right? And so this is kind of denoting that he's got that special header.
Well,
right?
that to me that means that he's new, that he hasn't updated his profile. Once he updates his profile, then I move him in. So his dashboard is completely different.
Right.
So,
now he's got a intro video about the system, what he needs to do, what they need to do to finish the profile, and then it's basically like, hey, it's like no joke telling them like it's not active until it's 100%. So you need to click on all of those things and then fill them in until they're all green, right?
Yeah, once they've gone green, then I move them from the new level to the regular level. Instead of a Rising Star podcast new, he'll be a Rising Star, and then he'll see the dashboard that you just modified, and then it talks about upgrading, booking, our mission statement, our nonprofit, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Hey, okay. So just one comment here, I guess, for you, Rich. You may want to change it. To me, this is a little confusing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I'm thinking like basic info, like, oh, that's basic information. Is there a purple basic info?
Yeah.
I'm looking for a purple basic info somewhere. So, and here's an example of the footer, right? So he's got one in there for the footer, so they can still do the stuff. But then it gets moved up on the other membership levels to be up at the top. But this is the focus for the new members. So anyway, Rich, what you may want to do is just put in an image capture of those buttons and just put those 4 in a table right here with click on those 4 and then fill them in until they all turn green or something.
I'm thinking about actually just deleting that line entirely because it is kind of, I was trying to make it stand out, but I think it's kind of
but sometimes by highlighting or trying to make it clear, it actually makes it less clear. So
I agree. All right, thanks.
But that's a good example there. So. All right, so let me get to Anthony's question. So he had a question earlier about preventing members from reviewing themselves. So this one's going to be this one's an easy fix. Who would ever do that? Like actually, somebody they had to make a tweak to the coding in the back end too. Somebody mentioned in the forums that somebody wrote in their About Us thing or the little the short survey thing. They put like 5-star emojis. So it basically had 5 emoji stars that looked like they were a 5-star rating, but they didn't upgrade or pay for reviews or get any reviews. They just added 5-star widgets in their About Me thing, and it looked like it was they were a 5-star company just like everybody else when they didn't even have the capability to do that and definitely didn't get a rating. So they had to fix that. But anyway, so this one's in settings. Again, this is what I'm doing here is preventing people from reviewing themselves. So go to settings and advanced settings, and we'll see, Rich, what you've got for this one, because I don't even know.
And will this be similar to, because we have a similar challenge of preventing people from spamming other members. We have a guy that's been spamming everybody with using the direct message feature, and I was trying to deactivate his direct messaging, but it only deactivated him getting messages, not being able to send them. And so I had to kind of put his account on hold or pause so he doesn't have access, because we had a couple complaints about him.
There's a prevention.
Well, because I thought, like, I went into his membership level, and I was actually just going to create a brand new membership level, move him over there, and turn off the direct messaging. But it really didn't quite turn it off. He could still send messages. He just couldn't receive them. So we can come back to that.
Well, no, and this brings up a question because I apologize, Anthony. I told you wrong. I was thinking this is what I had in my head that was in the settings, and it's not reviews, it's messages. So, what we may want to do, I'll suggest this to BD, but it usually works better if you jump on the webinar with Jason and ask this question. Maybe jump on next Wednesday's webinar, Wednesday at 7, and ask them this question. And say, hey, you guys have the ability to disable people sending messages to themselves, which makes sense, right? Nobody would ever do that because you're just that's really weird. But you can disable that. So the question is, why do you not have a setting for disabling members sending reviews of themselves?
We'll type in reviews. Maybe is there a setting for reviews?
Yeah, I did. That's what I initially did, and I couldn't find it. So I just remembered it said I knew the word themselves was in there. So. You can request reviews from their contacts, enable new search engine for reviews, and update data tables for reviews. Yeah, so
What about under the membership plan? The membership plan itself, it has a button that membership plan can submit or accept reviews or not.
Yeah, so there's we might as well just go over that. Those aren't the settings. It's basically whether you can get a review, whether you can reply to the reviews, and whether you can delete or approve reviews. So get, approve, or delete, and then reply. Those are the three settings for reviews. There's nothing to do with can they review themselves. But let's just go into one real quick and show you guys that. Again, this is a membership level particular setting for.
Yeah, that means you'd almost have to create a membership level just for that spam person, or you'd have to do the admin. So before they review themselves, you can approve it or not, which would cause an extra level of.
So here's the settings. They can get reviews, right? Whether they're approved or not, but that's just an admin thing. You can hide the star review options, but that's just how the review looks. And so here's the three things I talked about: ability to accept and delete, whether they can reply to them, and then just getting reviews. That was the third thing, and then images, but that's just the person sending it in. But again, nothing in here about being able to send their own reviews. Now, let me go to the website real quick. I'm logged in as SkilletWorks, right? So let me view my public listing, and I want to. And this may answer your question, Anthony. And I think this may take care of itself, but why there's maybe not a setting for this because it should automatically add whoever is logged in as the email. So if I'm logged in as SkilletWorks and I go to write a review,
actually you're logged in as Cleedon or see up top there.
I changed that? Okay.
Yeah, you're viewing SkilletWorks, but
okay. Well, let me look at that. This will answer my question anyway. See how it says they changed this as well. It used to be an open field here, and I think this has come up before. So they locked this down where it now says he's reviewing himself. Not this one. This was SkilletWorks, but let me just go to
his profile.
For example, let's go to their own listing here.
Because he's the guy that didn't update his profile yet, but he still can log in.
Well, let's write a bad review on himself.
Right? Yeah.
This guy can't even fill in his profile.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So here I am on the Cleidon Associates, and I am rating myself as Cleidon Associates. So although I can't stop them from doing that, it's going to say that it's them writing about themselves. So again, that's almost negative. Like that's good. Everybody's going to see that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hopefully, but so there's no way to stop that, Anthony. But this one, I just remember when I was going through there. This kind of stops that now because it used to be open, right? It would just be a blank where it'd say, and this is about the same time when we started asking Rich about that carbon copy on the email or adding info in there automatically and seeing if you could add in somebody's email in the lead settings. They turned this on, so that's blocked off now. So you cannot edit this anymore. It just adds whoever's already logged in as their info, and so you can't add a review. You can add a review on yourself, but it shows as yourself. You can't
it's like on
somebody else.
Like on YouTube, commenting on your own YouTube or commenting on your own social media, Instagram or something like that. It's going to show you as the member.
Right.
Yeah.
So did that? Okay. Puts the shady on them. Exactly. I think that's exactly what that does. It's not that. It's not full shady. It's kind of like slim shady.
Slim shady, yeah. So right along that line, how can we? Very similar question. How can we prevent someone from spamming members using the direct message feature? What's the best practice
using the what?
Of them being able to? We have a guy that's copy and pasting and basically the direct messaging a ton of people on the platform. How can we disable his ability to send direct messages and spam our members? Because he's a legitimate member. It's not a bot or a robot. So he's a legitimate member, but he's kind of just abusing, instead of inviting people or personal messages, he has a copy and paste message and he's sending it to, 20, 50, 100 people one at a time. So how can we turn off his ability? If you go to the membership plan, you'll see him listed there. You'll see his membership level, but I had to deactivate his temporarily hold on his membership because I've been getting complaints.
Oh, that's a good question. So it's not. It's the ability to post.
No, it's under the membership plan for you're as a Rising Star service, but just go to view members and you'll see his.
No, I'm just trying to think of the settings for the.
Well, there it was like enable private message right there. Enable private chat messages.
Yeah, but this is the reception of not the
sending. Yeah.
The sending. So so there's no. I don't think there's a way to do that. To be honest, it's all about the receiver end.
Right.
If this person is part of a membership level that can receive private chat messages, but the one that they're going to the listing that doesn't have the private chat message capability, even though they have that, it's for their profile, people messaging them. It's not for the person going to them. But even then, it has the direct message lead thing, so they can still send that. What that would have to be is a customization, to be honest, Rich. And here's how I would do that. For a particular, let me just go to their listing again. What I would do is that I would make a special jail membership for him.
Yeah, right.
Basically, the member no contactee group.
Right. And
if you're in the member no contactee group, what I would just do is wrap the code for everybody's profile page here in the header. That if you're logged in as bad boy no contactee login, that button just goes away. And so if he's logged in, if he's in his account to try to contact people and he's in the jail account, he's just no longer going to see. It's going to be like just suddenly disappeared, and that capability is no longer in your website because he does not have that button.
So how do we? Right. So click on members real quick. You'll see him, but also how do we eliminate that button? I guess. So the members, he's on kind of the home. Well, actually, you have to type him in.
Data protection.
Yeah, John Lee.
Data protection.
Say that again, Toby.
Data protection. You shouldn't be giving out his name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, it's all on the screens right here, but yeah,
we're not in the EU.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a great question, though. That's a good point. Thanks, Toby. I agree. So I'll remove that from the webinar. We'll just talk about that offline there, Rich. We can. But what you're basically going to do is going to contact the or there's like a subscription ID cookie, basically. So if they're logged in as a certain person or whatever, then it'll just not show that button.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough. That sounds good.
All right. So let's see. Any other questions that came in? I think you got it covered there. All right. Let's go ahead and let me switch to the presentation for today. So again, welcome to Directory Webinar number 41. We had talking today about business plan basics, the vision, mission, and purpose for your directory. And again, even if you're not starting out your business, or if you are, this will help you immensely, hopefully. And if you're not, I think there'll still be a lot to take away from this, because you can always kind of refine this, as most companies do, in terms of their mission, vision, and purpose. And if you haven't even thought about that, maybe now's a good time to start thinking about that in terms of picking that stuff or determining that, so you can, I guess, be more fulfilled, or I guess go in the right direction that you want for your directory, or help you out, hopefully, in your focus and what you're willing to put time in for your directory, just by going over some of this stuff. So we went over the last couple of weeks about some business plan stuff. We've gone over the preview and the executive summary in the past weeks. And this is what we talked about last week on webinar number 40. So if you did not see that, feel free to go look at that. Let me just throw this out here as well. I'll just keep plugging this for a couple times here, in case you guys did not see it last time. If you guys go to directory videos, and Scott, this may be new for you. I don't know if you were on there last week or if we went over this, but I've revamped the directoryvideos.com. I used to go to my YouTube channel, but now it is going to my own YouTube channel. Basically, it has all of the directory videos from Directory Toolkit webinars. I also have all of the courtesy of Jason and the team, all of the BD webinar Wednesdays on here as well, all 121 bingeable hours of their webinar Wednesdays. So feel free to take up your weekend doing that and watching all of those. But here is webinar number 40. Again, the other thing it has a dynamic search through anything on the webinar. So if you just type in a number 40 there to get to my webinar number 40, it will show up right here, and you guys can go rewatch that for last week's webinar. And then, again, if you want a deep search on that, say how many times Scott has come up on the webinars. Looks like webinar 7, Scott, I said your name 14 times, so that's the big winner. Wow. There for you. Looks like you haven't been here since webinar 7 is what I'm getting out of this. But anyway, you can see how many times that particular word or search topic is on any video in all of the series. So feel free to take advantage of that, and let me know if you guys find anything useful there in your browsing stuff. But again, number 40 is the keyword for today. It'll pull up that video, and then you can go ahead and watch that in all of its potentially high def glory. All right, so that is that. And we talked about that on webinar number 40, the preview, the executive summary. Today, we're going to move on to the business plan purpose, and we'll be making. Yeah, go ahead. Anybody saying? Okay. So today we're going to be going over the purpose. We'll be doing this over the next couple of weeks, kind of exploring all the different facets of the purpose for a particular business plan. There's a bunch of different stuff that we're going to be going over for that purpose. We're going to talk about your proposition next week, talk about like the problem you're trying to solve, your solution, maybe some innovation, facts, and assumptions about what you're doing or solving for your particular niche. We'll then get into the profiles and public opinion, going into market segments and market research, competitive advantage or competitive analysis stuff with maybe some of your competitors or other people in your niche, and then work our way through that to the plan. So that's kind of the overview of the purpose. But today, for the first overview of purpose, we're going to kind of talk about the business or directory culture, or that vision, mission, or purpose for your business. And this is just kind of a brief overview. We've got a lot of circles, I just realized, in today's presentation. So This is the first circle for today, but I don't really want to get a deep dive into mission statements or all that stuff that much, or vision statements, but just realize you don't have to be a big corporation in order to kind of understand these three topics, because they come into play all the time in your particular business. So the first one we want to talk about is the vision. And it's right there on the screen. It makes sense. Your vision is basically where you'll eventually want to get to one day, right? It's what you're aspiring to. You may never, some people never get there, right? Or it's such a long-term vision that it more of just provides a guiding light, right, towards the direction you want to go. For any of you that are campers or have done a lot of outdoor stuff, as many of you know, I was in the military, so I've spent many more days out in the woods in the middle of nowhere than I care to admit. But one of the things in the survival training and just kind of going through the woods on that stuff is anybody knows that if you're trying to find a direction with a compass, you want to try to, look as far as you can off in the distance of finding something that is an immovable object, right? Something, probably an ocean liner on the sea is probably not a good example. A mountain peak that is not going to move and hasn't moved for hundreds of thousands of years is probably a good example. But you want to find something off in the distance, right? That is your vision, the where you want to get to in the direction you want to go. And that's a quick reference to kind of make sure that you're always on the right path, right? So if you go around a corner on your little trek there and you look up, you don't even have to look at your compass. If that hill that you wanted to go to is not in front of you and so off to your side, then you're kind of facing the wrong direction. You're going off on the wrong path, and you can realign yourself. So it's the exact same thing that the vision tries to provide for you or your company, your directory. So put some thought into that. All right. You may not, and the important thing on this is that it's off in the distance, right? You're not going to get there fast necessarily. You can always have milestones or kind of intermediary steps or maybe success pieces, right? But that vision is always that where you eventually want to be. So if you have not put some thought into that of why do you have your directory? What's the long-term goal? What's your vision? How are you going to get there? Then, as this quote says here, let me move I don't know if you guys can see that, but as this quote says here, if you don't know where you want to go, you probably won't get there. And then if you do get there, it's probably not where you actually wanted to be, right? And so put some thought into that, where you want your directory to go, your business, your company, your culture, whatever it is. Just think long term. Where do you want it to be? And then that's going to help guide the other aspects of your decision making as you go and make your directory. The second, example of this here, I kind of gave that camping one. Again, this is a military example. I won't deep dive into this too much, but something we always talk about in military planning stuff is this thing over here in purple, is the strategic end state or the military end state, the end state, right? What do we want? The end result of our military campaign or whatever we're doing over time, where do we want to go, right? And you have to know that in order to make a plan of what you want to do to get there, right? And so if you know where you want to go, and then the other part is, and think about this from your directory perspective, is where are you now, right? If you know where you want to go and you know where you are right now, now you have your charting path, right? You know where you need to go, and that design, that business plan, right? Identifying the problem, making your solution, making sure you have all the stuff of your business correct. This is the business plan stuff right here, right? And stuff in the middle. But as long as you have that vision of where you want to go and where you're at now, you can get there. And then just like in when we do these things for the military planning, we always used to talk about constraints and restraints, and it's no different for your business. Constraints are things that are, and it's green here, things that you have to do, right? There's just certain things maybe in order to get into your particular niche or to advertise for your particular area, or there's just things that you're going to have to do for your directory, right? There's constraints within the BD system that you just have to live with, right? Unless you pay for something else or you develop something else or add additional software. There's constraints, right? You have to, that stuff you have to do. And then just think of those as, I guess, way markers along the path, right? There's stuff that you have to go through whether you come up here or down here is fine, but you have to go through the O right here, right? So whether you go up or down, or you at some point you have to use that. You have to go through that part of the path. And then restraints are the opposite, right? There's things that you can't do, right? There's things that BD cannot do on its own. There's stuff that maybe you can't do for your industry, or the method that you're going to propose. It may just be a money thing, right? There is just restraints on what your capabilities are. Like maybe you want to use, Infusionsoft, and you just can't afford it, or you don't want to pay the monthly fee for that. Well, that's a restraint. I cannot use that to get to my end goal. So, maybe there's a different path, or a different way, or a different advertising scheme, or a different list building opportunity or method that's a little bit cheaper for me or something, right? But there's always constraints and restraints. But knowing that, when you know all those things, that allows you to build your plan to success. And so I know this is very uber over generic and stuff like that, but that's the reality. When you're mapping that out, you have to know what your constraints are, what you have to do, what you can't do, where you want to go and where you are. And then you can chart your path with your actions, and then know whether those actions that you're doing are getting you along the path to success or not. And obviously everything that you do should point towards and get you closer to the end result. I was previously a military pilot as well, so I always use the term thrust and no vector, right? You want to have that vector in the right direction, right? Otherwise, all the thrust in the world, all the effort, all the planning, the money, the whatever time is not going to get you to the end result, because your vector was in the wrong direction, right? You're basically could be going the opposite direction, or at least not towards your eventual goal. And then, as with aircraft, you run out of fuel, right? For you guys, maybe motivation, money, time, etc., right? So you want to have the thrust and the vector by kind of thinking about this process. So hopefully you have done that for your business, or maybe put some thoughts to paper on what these things are for you, both where you are, where you want to go, your constraints, restraints, and then the plan, right? The business plan. That's what we're going over in order to get you there. So that was a military example. I kind of used hiking stuff. That was a little bit more generic, but here's one probably everybody's heard of, right? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And so this is a universal one that not necessarily totally universal, but I'm sure everybody's heard of that. But his step number 2, or habit number 2 there is in the 7 habits is begin with the end in mind, right? And so if you have your goal, and it doesn't have to be end state. It doesn't have to be a vision. It could just be a goal, right? It could be a milestone, multiple goals. But if you have that end in sight for the goal, you can then start with that mental creation about, what experience you have, what your capabilities are, right? For your self-awareness, what you know or what you don't know, what your mission is, your imagination, what you can think that you can do. And then you the old work, you put the rubber to the road, you make that plan to get your goal, and you have your focus on that long-term vision. And that was his number 2 habit of effective people. And so, I don't have a worksheet on this. Maybe eventually here, once we get a course set up here for this stuff for everybody, we can get a worksheet set up for this. But, just think about these questions, right? What do you want to be like, or what do you want to do? What are your principles and values of your company, again, or the foundations for your actions? Think about what that stuff is. What's going to get you to that goal? What do you have to accomplish in order to do that? And those are a habit of an effective person, when they can think about the goal and continually everything that they do. If it doesn't get them closer to that goal, then it's maybe not a value added action, money spend, time waste potentially, as you guys do that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of applicable stuff. Definitely recommend you guys go ahead and grab that book and read it. It's a pretty interesting read, obviously. And usually everybody grabs something unique to them when they read that. So that's the vision. The second step here is mission. And so your mission is what you do to accomplish your purpose, right? It drives you. And so that can basically be your it's not necessarily what you do along the business plan path or whatever, or necessarily steps, but this is when somebody says your mission statement, like what keeps you going down that path, right? I'll use the hiking thing again. If the vision is the Mount Everest, right? Or you getting to the top or peak of that hill, the mission is what keeps you going, right, on that path to get to the end. right? To get to that next milestone and get to that next goal. And so a lot of times people have put mission statements together. This is usually the bullet plan thing that people put on their website, right? If this would be the H1 of your directory site, when they go in there and they're like, we do this for this group or whatever. We are the blank for this niche of directory or whatever. It's the like, what's your mission? What do you do? What does your directory provide for your people, and keeps you motivated to do that? Because like that, everything I am doing for my website is dealing with this, right? And so that's your mission. So I just want to kind of play a video here real quick for you guys on mission statement. I think it's a pretty interesting video here. Thanks. Take care, Scott. If you're already gone, otherwise we'll talk to you next time. So I just want to play a quick video here on the mission statement. It's pretty funny, but it's kind of a good point that a lot of times we can do mission creep, and a lot of times that you guys change your directories, maybe focus, and you guys start looking at the design of your website or a fancy new tool or something you saw somebody else do on the webinar and you want to do that as well, and kind of lose focus of what your mission really is. And sometimes it gets watered down and you kind of miss the reason why you're doing that. And if you kind of keep the focus of what your mission statement is or why your directory or your business exists, it can provide some clarity that maybe some other people have kind of lost focus on. So just a real quick 4-minute video here on the mission statement. And hopefully, again, even if you're not doing a business plan, you can get something out of this. But definitely if you're kind of working on a mission statement or a business plan and you're trying to do your elevator pitch and that overview of what you as a business do, hopefully this will help you guys out doing that.
I want to show you why most mission statements are so terrible. So let's say that you own a chain of pizza parlors, and maybe you have a mission statement that you've drafted, and it says something like, our mission is to serve the tastiest damn pizza in Wake County. Now that's pretty good, if you ask me. If I was one of your employees, I could get excited about that. But here's where things go off the rails. So you invite all your colleagues to come join you and to help you wordsmith this thing. And you all sit around a table, and right in front of your eyes, a transformation happens. All of these people who you like and respect suddenly become 10th grade English teachers and begin to nitpick every word of this thing.
Hey, I really like the word present better than serve. It has a nice resonance.
We obviously can't say damn. And why limit ourselves to Wake County?
And guys, I know our pizza is good, but what about the calzones and salads? Why don't we just say highest quality Italian food?
Our Greek salad isn't Italian.
We haven't even talked about the atmosphere yet, the big comfy booths and the kids' birthday parties and all that.
Yeah, great point. You know what we're really doing here? We're providing a family entertainment solution.
Yeah, solution.
Nailed it.
And everyone's excited now. You're almost there. And then Steve at the end of the table pipes up.
Listen, guys, we haven't mentioned anything about integrity. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, integrity.
And is anyone at the table going to rise up and go to the mat against the word integrity being in the mission statement? Doubtful. So presto, that's in. And now here's your new and improved mission statement. Our mission is to present with integrity the highest quality entertainment solutions to families. I know this is a little bit silly, but you got to admit this is what 99% of mission statements sound like. And now you know why. There's this cycle of making words more ambiguous and more fancy until all of the meaning leaches out. Here's how to avoid that. 2 tips. Number 1, use concrete language. Great example comes from this fast-growing small business called Sonic Biz. Check this out. We want to help musicians get gigs and promoters book the right band. We're a bunch of people who think that music can truly change the world and make it smaller and better. I love that. I think it gives you a picture of exactly what they do and also gives you a hint why they might want to do that. And that brings us to the second point, which is talk about the why. You know, most mission statements are really long on statement and really short on mission. And the whole point of this is to talk about why you're doing what you do. You've got to talk about what makes you care. So let me give you a famous example from Johnson & Johnson. This is the first line in their credo. Our first responsibility is to the doctors, nurses, and patients, mothers and fathers, and all others who use our products and services. Well, all right. That's something that you could get out of bed to go do. Now contrast that with the guiding principles of ExxonMobil. Did you feel that? A little part of your soul just died reading that mission statement. So now you've seen why bad mission statements happen to good people, and I've given you 2 tips.
All right, so hopefully you guys got something out of that. I thought it was pretty interesting, but I think it's the same is true for your business and directory. A lot of times people try to get fancy on the what they're putting on their title or whatever, or try to make it sound like it applies to everybody, right? And what ends up happening is you lose the clarity and focus instead of just saying, we connect podcasters, right? Or whatever it is. It gets you sometimes people water it down or change it and make it unclear. And that's where you start getting bounce rates, right? When people go to your page and you're like referencing back to that pizza thing, they had no idea that you're a pizza joint, right? Maybe you have a picture of a pizza on there, but when it doesn't say anything about pizza, they're bouncing, right? I don't even know what your site's dealing with. So there's some lessons to be learned there for mission statements on your H1, your focus for your directory as well. And so hopefully you guys got something out of that. And the big thing that he got out of there is the why, right? And then, sorry, let me go to the... All right. So the big thing there is the why, and so that's the third one is the purpose, right? Is the purpose is why you exist. It guides you, right? And so that's the ultimate deal in your you got your vision, you got your mission, but the purpose is the why of your particular business. And so a lot of times this isn't necessarily as easy as it seems. There's a lot of different stuff that goes into the why, and we're going to kind of go over that in a little bit. But I want to show you guys another video here, and hopefully this will help clarify for you. I just want to do a brief overview, then we'll watch the video. And for those of you who've already seen this before, I think it's a really great video. I get stuff out of it all the time. But if you guys want to go grab lunch or something, if you've already seen the video and hop back in, feel free to do that. But this is the Golden Circle by Simon Sinek, and this is kind of a brief overview of what it is. And what he diagrammed again. So here's my second circle for today. It's the what, how, and the why. But the what is the messaging about you, your products, and your services, right? The how is what you're going to do differently than everybody else, or what your value proposition, right, is, right? Just a second here, Rich. I'm going to go ahead and use you real quick. Just make sure I get the background noise out again. So if anybody wants to jump in, feel free to come back in here for the audio. Okay. And the how is the messaging about you differently, but the why is the messaging about what you believe in or are trying to achieve. It's basically the whole thing. So it's not the trip. It's not the goal of Mount Everest. It's not the mission of why you're staying on the path. The why is like, why did you even start the journey in the first place? Why do you want to get to the end result? Why is that your goal? And so if you have that core as your presentation, that you're never going to stray from what you want to do. It's going to make every decision that much easier when you go ahead and do that. And so one of the quotes from the audio we're about to watch here is, the goal is not to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. Right? Because that makes that sale that much easier. If they already are part of your tribe, right? They're already part of that group. You don't have to convince them that they need your product. I've talked about this before, that the last thing you want to do is have to A, convince people they need your product, and then B, convince them that they want to buy your product. You want to go to people that already know that they need your product. They already realize they want it. They just haven't found it yet. And as soon as you provide it to them, they're sold. those are the people that you want to sell with. So, and sometimes it just comes down to how you present that, right? Both in your offer and your belief system on what it allows them to do. We went over this on a previous webinar too, but like the echelons of like benefits for plans. Some of them are like life transcending results, right? Of like if they join your plan, they're going to get better health and they're going to live longer. It's like transforming. And then the other one is like, hey, we save you money, right? Which one's more powerful? I'm going to live longer and have a better life, or I'm going to save some money. So there's different values too, but sometimes it comes down in how you present it and how you sell it. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to show you the video here. And this is the Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And this one's about 15 minutes long, so this is quite a bit lengthier, but I think it's a very, very good video, and I want you guys to watch it if you haven't. If you've already seen it 10 times and want to take a vacation for 15 minutes, I'll see you back. Otherwise, enjoy the video here.
So where do you start when you have a program that's about integrating likes with passions? Well, you start with why. Why? And that kicks us off to the first speaker tonight, Simon Sinek, in his talk, Start With Why.
We assume even we know why we do what we do. But then how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access, the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the Civil Rights Movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in the pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered man flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered man flight? The Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operated it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way. And it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose, what's your cause, what's your belief. Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers, the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products. And nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that, there's if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the dot-com of the day. Everybody was trying it. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had what we assume to be the recipe for success. I mean, even now you ask people, why did your product or why did your company fail? And people always give you the same permutation of the same three things. undercapitalized, the wrong people, bad market conditions. It's always the same three things. So let's explore that. Samuel Pierpont Langley was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out this flying machine. Money was no problem. He held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Langley. And how come we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. They had none of what we consider to be the recipe for success. They had no money. They paid for their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person on the Wright brothers' team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. The difference was Orville and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it'll change the course of the world. Samuel Pierpont Langley was different. He wanted to be rich, and he wanted to be famous. He was in pursuit of the result. He was in pursuit of the riches. And lo and behold, look what happened. The people who believed in the Wright brothers' dream worked with them with blood and sweat and tears. The others just worked for the paycheck. And they tell stories of how every time the Wright brothers went out, they would have to take 5 sets of parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for supper. And eventually, on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And no one was there to even experience it. We found out about it a few days later. And further proof that Langley was motivated by the wrong thing, the day the Wright brothers took flight, he quit. He could have said, "That's an amazing discovery, guys, and I will improve upon your technology." But he didn't. He wasn't first. He didn't get rich. He didn't get famous. So he quit. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you talk about what you believe, you will attract those who believe what you believe. Well, why is it important to attract those who believe what you believe? Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to say, oh, it's about 10%, proudly. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling. Oh, they just get it. The problem is, how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it? So it's this here, this little gap, that you have to close, as Jeffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world, and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat-screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great. They did it for themselves. It's because they wanted to be first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. In fact, people will do the things that prove what they believe. The reason that person bought the iPhone in the first 6 hours, or stood in line for 6 hours, was because what they believed about the world and how they wanted everybody to see them. They were first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me give you a famous example, a famous failure and a famous success of the law of diffusion of innovation. First, the famous failure. It's a commercial example.
As we said before a second ago, the recipe for success is money and the right people and the right marketing conditions, right? You should have success then. Look at TiVo. From the time TiVo came out about 8 or 9 years ago to this current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market. Hands down, there is no dispute. They were extremely well funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. I TiVo stuff on my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo's a commercial failure. They've never made money. And when they went IPO, their stock was at about $30 or $40 and then plummeted, and it's never traded above 10. In fact, I don't think it's even traded above 6, except for a couple of little spikes. Because you see, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you, we don't need it, we don't like it, you're scaring us. What if they had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, memorizes your viewing habits, etc., etc. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply serves as the proof of what you believe. Now let me give you a successful example of the law of diffusion of innovation. In the summer of 1963, 250,000 people showed up on the Mall in Washington to hear Dr. King speak. They sent out no invitations, and there was no website to check the date. How do you do that? Well, Dr. King wasn't the only man in America who was a great orator. He wasn't the only man in America who suffered in a pre-civil rights America. In fact, some of his ideas were bad, but he had a gift. He didn't go around telling people what needed to change in America. He went around and told people what he believed. I believe, he told people. And people who believed what he believed took his cause and they made it their own, and they told people. And some of those people created structures to get the word out to even more people. And lo and behold, 250,000 people showed up on the right day, on the right time to hear him speak. How many of them showed up for him? Zero. They showed up for themselves. It's what they believed about America that got them to travel on a bus for 8 hours to stand in the sun in Washington in the middle of August. It's what they believed, and it wasn't about black versus white. 25% of the audience was white. Dr. King believed that there were two types of laws in this world, those that are made by a higher authority and those that are made by man. And not until all the laws that are made by man are consistent with the laws that are made by the higher authority will we live in a just world. It just so happens that the civil rights movement was the perfect thing to help him bring his cause to life. We followed him not for him, but for ourselves. And by the way, he gave the I Have a Dream speech, not the I Have a Plan speech. Listen to politicians now with their comprehensive 12-point plans. They're not inspiring anybody. Because there are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power or authority. Those who lead inspire us. Whether they're individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead, not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead, not for them, but for ourselves. And it's those who start with why that have the ability to inspire those around them, or find others who inspire them. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen that one before, but I mean, I think it's a great video, and he's a great speaker himself there. But I think it's true. A lot of times it makes a sale a lot better. It's easier. People know why you're doing that, and it can get them on board for that particular, I guess, ingrained reason for participating in your directory or dealing with your company that gets them to make the sale. So that's called the Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. So what I want you to guys to think about after watching that video is that to start with your why is it's important to understand your own personal motivations, because if you understand your own personal motivations for your particular niche or your company, it'll help you put that to paper, right? For the outer people, or to put that perspective on paper, or put it in a video or whatever it is. If you understand yours, you can help realize what other people's personal motivations are for using your product or your directory or your service or whatever. And so think about why are you starting this particular company, right? Why did you start this particular company? Why are you in that particular niche and not a different one? I don't want to necessarily have everybody change, the entire directory that they're doing, but, maybe you're in the wrong niche. Or if you haven't made that decision on what niche you're going to be down, like why are you going to go one way or the other? And hopefully I'll provide some analysis of that today to put some thought to that on and maybe help you make that decision. So, go ahead and, jot down your why. And I'm going to ask you when I'm done with the presentation here to let me know if you guys have any of those. What are your why? Why are you doing that niche, or why that company? Why do you want to launch a business? And this will help you frame your business plan, help frame that vision, the mission, the why of your business, to help hopefully formulate your business plan, your decision, your design, and then really any decisions that you guys make throughout your business, because that kind of puts in perspective why you're doing it and what's important and what's not in order to get you to that eventual goal. So start with your why. And so in evaluation of that discussion of, why that business type or niche, or what do you want to do, I just want to talk about the 4 keys to business success today, and it's really easy. It's love, know, need, and pay, right? And so this is just the rock bottom business success. You need all 4 of these things. So personal success, comes at the intersection of what you enjoy doing, right? What you love, what you're good at, right? What you know how to do, and a problem that needs solving. So those 3 things. And then business success adds that 4th one, and that's why we're here to talk business. Business success also requires that someone is willing to pay you for that, right? Because you can have the intersection of what you love, something you know how to do, and something the world needs, but if nobody's going to pay you to do that, you do not have a business. And sometimes this is a hard fact for people to realize, but it's a crucial one. People need to be able and willing to pay you for that. That's kind of where we get to sometimes on the business models of companies that they're still trying to figure that out, right? You've got huge multi-million, sometimes billion-dollar companies that are in IPO that have never turned a profit. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago in one of the other webinars where we talked about a bunch of different business models or whatever. There are some huge companies that had never made any money. The reason they were able to survive so long is because they took venture capital or sold stock or whatever, but they've never made anything, right? They're struggling to find that pay thing. So people love it. People know how to do it. Everybody needs it or wants it, but nobody wants to pay for it in the business model they have. And so they end up going out of business or shifting, right? Restructuring, changing their business model, or adding additional things people will pay for once they figure it out. But obviously, you guys on your directory, we talked about this a couple weeks ago too, probably don't have venture capital money, and hopefully aren't blowing through all your parents' wealth that they've developed over their entire life, trying to get your business venture off the ground. But people are going to have to pay for it, right, in order for you to be a business. So that's the 4th thing. So what I want to kind of do is kind of walk through these things here real quick and talk about these. So the first one is, what you love doing. If we have the round ball of what that is, go ahead and think of all the things that you love doing, right? And so even if you're already in business, maybe you're thinking about another business or a future business or whatever, and it doesn't ever hurt to go through this exercise, again, because maybe you're going to morph the business you do have or start a new one or whatever. But think about the things that you love doing, and then try to imagine what you would do if you were free to do whatever you wanted, right? What do you have fun doing? What do you love? That's the first, critical way to find that success is to know what you love doing. The second thing is what are you good at? right? We talked about that. Think about the things that you know that you are known to be good at, right? Not things that you would like to be good at, right? So this is a good time for you to be, super honest with yourself. Don't let your ego do the talking on this one. Really think about what you're good at and doing that. Because a lot of times I talk to people too, and I'm like, you really should not be on an online business. They don't know how to do anything with the internet. They don't know how to design. They really don't even want to log into their directory or even run the business. They just want to, make money, kind of like the other guys that were doing the competing against the Wright brothers, right? And so sometimes maybe it's not the right business for you. So you got to think about what you're good at, because you at least have to be able to be good at some sort of business aspect or want to actually run your business. And then obviously you can have other people do certain things as long as you can afford it, right? And have them do that for you. But think about what you're good at, because that may, tip your hat in the direction you want to go, directory or otherwise, right? If we're just talking general business. So think about all those times that people have commented to you for doing something. And I'm not talking about flattery where they just tell you, hey, you did something good at something. Like, really, no kidding, when somebody's not just being polite, and when they legit, no kidding, the like, wow, how did you know how to do that thing? Like, what is that? Write that stuff down or think about that in the future. What are you good at? And then the third one, so on this topic here, the bottom line is know your strengths. I found this one, it was technicallyfunny.com. But this was a funny graphic here, and we'll ask you guys this in a minute, or if you guys want to jump on here, let me know where you're at. But I thought this was a funny of the Venn diagram career choice wheel, right? So if you're good at if you're heartless and good at drinking, you'll probably be good at a good politician. Or if you're good at math and love details, you're probably an accountant. Etc. And I thought this was a funny graphic, but it's true, right? I mean, if maybe not exactly true on this, hopefully, for some of these characteristics, but you're more likely, it's the old aptitude test, right? When you're in school, if you're good at or like certain things, you probably want to take one career choice, vice the other. And the same thing for business, right? What you're good at may help determine what kind of business you want to do, right? If you hate the smell of, if you love cats and hate the smell of wet fur, hopefully you're not doing a dog grooming business, right? That's probably not the best choice for you. So know what your strengths are, know what you like, know what you're good at, and that'll help you make that decision. We'll ask where you guys are at on the scale here in a minute. Third thing is, what does the world need? And so, doing what you love and what you're good at will most definitely motivate you, right? You're going to be motivated to do something you love to do and you're good at. A lot of times, because it's natural, you don't have to put in that much work and you have success. You're going to be motivated by that. But you might feel like there's something missing, right? That self-awareness is vital in that process, but opening up your eyes to what the world needs, can be a game changer for people, because sometimes maybe it's not necessarily something that you're really good at, but you're interested in, you like it. You're not the best, but everybody needs it. And so that may take you down a path for your business that you wouldn't have otherwise done, because you know that the world needs it. And so in business, you essentially want to have a problem, right? Or provide your audience with something that they deeply desire. Because all the things that you saw in the Simon Sinek video there is people didn't go there because of Martin Luther. I'm sure a lot of them, some of them did. He said 0, but I'm sure some did, obviously. But they went there for themselves, right? Or they supported the Wright brothers and doing other stuff for no money because they believed in it, right? And so if you're providing that audience with something that they desire, your audience desires, not you, your audience, right? Then that's going to be more fulfilling, and you're going to have a more successful business because of that. A lot of times you're going to have opposite success if you always think that the customer is you, right? If you think that just because of something I want, that may not be what the customer wants. And we'll get into that in future weeks here on market research and knowing what your customers' wants and needs are. But if you're not helping them with their deep desires, then you're probably not going to have a good, successful business, because as we talked about earlier in the day here, you don't want to be writing reviews on yourself, right? You need other people to write reviews because they love your service, not you. So you want to help them out with their desires. So being aware of current trends in your market or your niche, being able to finally, fine tune your product or service based on your niche your market and the community or whatever is going to be crucial. You have to know what you or the world needs or your customers are going to need. And then that final thing is that is very crucial, is what are people going to pay for? And this is the showstopper. It's kind of the stop sign here, why it's in red. But if you do something that fulfills what you love, right, what you're good at, and what the world needs, you'll have the drive, right? You'll be a person of success. You'll feel happy and be fulfilled. However, if you don't get paid doing it, you're going to burn out or run out of money, and you're not going to have a business, right? This is a very critical step that obviously I think everybody here knows, but you need to get paid for it. And so that's why we need a criterion in this framework to have that, because being paid back for what you believe or deserve can motivate you to do your best. But you need that money in order to sustain that end goal and what you want to do. That's what you need to have balance, right, in your business, and to stay motivated. You need to have somebody that's willing to pay for you. So this is going to be the last graphic for today. And then we got about 15 minutes before we hit our 2 hours here, so we can have some roundtable discussions. But I just want to leave this one up here, and then we can. I'm going to unmute everybody's microphones here, and we can have a conversation. This is and you guys may have seen this before in some sort of visual format, but this is actually originated in 2011. There's a guy named by the name of Andre Zuzanaga. That is Spanish. He came up with this concept basically of how to find your purpose in the center of overlap of all these for your business. That if you define what you're doing, what you're good at, what you're going to be paid for, and what the world needs, the intersection of that point, he called it proposito, or purpose in Spanish there. But the overlap of what you love, the strengths, what you get paid for, and what your world needs is almost like the quintessential business spot to be in. Because otherwise you're in and you guys can see it on the screen, the intersection of what you love and what you're good at is your passion, right? Just something you're really passionate about, but maybe not, it's not a good business to be in either, because you don't want to burn that out, but maybe the world doesn't need it, or they're not going to pay you for it. If you love doing something and the world needs it, but you're not getting paid for it and you're not necessarily good at it, that's a mission, right? You can go on the mission field if you're religious and do mission fields or do other mission stuff. You may not get paid and you may not be good at it, but you go to do it and serve because that's what the world needs and you love doing it. A vocation, right, is maybe you get paid for it and what the world needs, but you don't love it. You're not very good at it. You're just doing it to get money. It's a vocation. And then the other intersection is you get paid for it and you're good at it. But you don't necessarily love it and the world doesn't need it, but people pay you to do it. So it's like it's just your profession. You do it. You go to work, you punch the card, and you go in there. And then there's the tertiary overlaps. It's kind of a little bit deeper. If you, I drew that line, I just drew this blue line on here as an education line of kind of what you normally would do for a career, right? To get to that career spot, that overlap of maybe you love something in school, right? You're not good at it, but you go to school and you become better and better at it. It's your passion. You go to school and you learn about it. And then eventually somebody pays you for that education and what you love to do. And you have the intersection of loving to do it. You've learned to do it well or have the knowledge in your brain. And now somebody's paying you to do that. That's a career. Okay. So you kind of move from the what I love through the passion into the career, hopefully. The cause is an overlap of something that you're good at. You get paid for and the world needs, but you don't necessarily love it. You're just doing it's a cause. You're going there to support it. The potential is, when you love it, the world needs it, you get paid for it, but you have no idea how to do it. So there's potential there that you just need to figure out how to do it. And you can move that over to a purpose. And then the final one is calling, right? Where you're good at it. You love it. The world needs it, but you're not going to get paid for it. It's just a calling for you, and you're going to do it regardless because you're good at it. Let's say you're a counselor. You love it. The world needs counseling. You're really good at it, but nobody's going to pay you to do it. You're just doing it because it's your calling, wanting to help people out. So the real thing I want to leave you guys with on this one is when you put your business model in this diagram, where is your business? Where are you? Where did you get off track, or can you move your business to that purpose? What is your purpose for your business? And figure out where you're at. So, and then you may want to ask yourself a question of how do you move to the middle? How do you get closer to your purpose? So let me just throw out a couple examples. Let's say you have your business is more like a calling, right? You're there, the world needs it, you love it, you're good at it, but nobody's paying for it right now. How can you make money or otherwise benefit from doing those things? Like, how can you move that into the purpose for your business and start making money? If you're over in the potential realm here, maybe you're wasting all your money in the business because you're not good at stuff, and you're using all your money that's coming in because you're not good at it and you're paying other people to do it for you. How can you learn to do it on your own, or do it a different way, or be more efficient, where you can start making more money and be having a profitable, purposeful business. Maybe your business fills in the cause here. Right. Maybe you find yourself, you're good at something, they're paying you and the world needs it, but you don't really love it. Is there something you can do to get excited about it, or shift your business maybe more towards something that you do love? Maybe it's another aspect of that. And if you just push it this way of stuff you love, you're going to be that much more motivated. You're going to have that goal, that the mission is going to be easier for you to go down because you figured out how to do something you love. And then maybe you're treating your business like a career, right? Where you've got it all set up, you love it, you're good at it, and people are starting to pay, but it's not taking off because not everybody needs it, or a smaller part of people need it. So maybe you need to open up the aperture to maybe get to more of something that everybody needs, or maybe what people would be willing to pay more for because of something that's a little bit different than what you're doing now. So just want to kind of toss it out there. I'm going to go unmute everybody, and then we'll come back to the slide here. But let's just talk about, where you're at on the strengths or business, or anything else you guys learned from the video there. And let's just have a roundtable discussion there. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody. This trigger anything for anybody, or anything from the video, or any takeaways?
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts, but maybe have somebody else chime in.
Well, get started, Rich. Go ahead, and then everybody else can jump in.
Yeah, man, Ryan, this was really kind of like, I'm going to have to erase the whiteboard and start over again kind of thing. Not just completely start over, but really just gave me some, additional clarity. And, I don't know if it raised more questions than, filled in some of the blanks. But, something I've been kind of grappling with is a lot of what you covered as far as, the why behind the business. And really, I know the value that we're adding, and I know we're generating, some revenue, but nowhere near the potential I think this has. And so, like any business, there's, like he was talking about, the innovators, the early adopters, and then the mass adoption and so forth. But, early on, you have to figure out if it's a proof of concept. So when people start paying in more than a few, and also what I love about the membership or subscription model is that they continue to pay month after month, And so it's one thing, like in business, to make a transaction and make a sale that day. But if the model's not based on them coming back and reordering, you can't have absolute clarity if it's actually a proof of concept, right? So
yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like he was giving the example of Apple in the video, right? Where there's I'm not necessarily. I mean, I have an iPhone. I use that. I don't have a Mac though. But there's some people that are like just totally Mac people, right? Or Apple,
yeah. And
they'll buy everything from the company, no matter what they make. So it's not. That's almost like an example too. It's not a subscription. Maybe it is with your phone company that you pay every monthly to get your iPhone. But I'm not paying. They don't know whether I'm going to come back and buy another iPhone, right? But there's people that do it and just buy every new product that comes out because it's Apple. So sometimes it doesn't have to be a membership or a monthly thing too. And we've gone over this before in terms of the launch funnel or launches or stuff too. Maybe it's just something too where you have a membership. Just because you have a membership doesn't mean you can't do launches or other products. But maybe you just keep offering a new product to the same people and they buy from you. And you try to get more people in different aspects. You just keep making just different products or different offerings, and they just take that instead of having to pay for a membership. So there's all sorts of different ways to potentially do that. I think Scott, he had to jump off, but he was switching more to a service-based thing as opposed to a membership. So there's always different ways to skin the cat. But.
Right. I mean, part of this about the Venn diagrams here, and because this goes back to before the directory of launching this cause and getting the specifically the podcasting community kind of rallied behind our cause, and now we've launched a GoFundMe page and have pivoted, or not pivoted, but have expanded beyond just, podcasting for good was part of our branding in terms of the mission and the cause, but now kind of widening it to, the new branding along that same line is actually channel for good. So that's the message is, the big picture goal is to create another network like we did with a pro business channel, a business network, but a network of podcasters or bloggers or YouTubers, anybody with a platform or a message, whether a nonprofit or companies, organization, individual, that are making a change in the world. And so that's the kind of the double entendre, but change for good. But I struggle sometimes with, spending efforts and money and time and all the creative juices to kind of get this cause going. Like you're talking about in the diagram you have on display here is like, like joining a mission and traveling the world, but you're not really making any money, And so, so it's, and then back to like your opening thing about the why, or like I went back and just looked at my homepage with a new set of eyes to envision, like if I was a first time visitor there, what is the directory? What is it about the directory that's, what is it doing? What's its purpose? But also, the why, and how do we kind of connect our nonprofit and our cause and our initiatives and our mission, which now we've made the second tab and a little bit more bolder on our statement and expanded that entire story, telling our story. If you go to our mission page on our homepage, it used to be just about the our single nonprofit of the Auditory Verbal Center, but it's the first time really on our directory we've told the story and our mission, right? So
is that the new good page?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where we changed from just the mission to the story and a mission. Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of depends on how where you want or how you want to share your vision or whatever. So I'm just going to go back to your webpage here. Maybe obviously it's the podcaster directory, but you're starting to add authors or writers or whatever. So maybe it's not the world's largest marketplace. Maybe it's just like maybe it's we connect people and stories or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's more than just the podcast marketplace. Maybe it's what you do, connect stories, whether it's on a podcast or writing or a book or whatever. You connect story, whatever that is. Maybe it's phrased in that respect or whatever. But if it is more than that, you just got to figure out how to portray it. So it's funny. I was actually looking at this image today for my slide deck. That would have been really funny if I chose that.
Purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Maybe Toby or some of the other people have some insight, or maybe just your first thoughts. But the idea is, I am probably in the next day or so, I'm looking at now, based on this presentation, the conversation of changing, that kind of nondescript world's largest marketplace but it's more than just connecting podcasters. We're not just a matchmaking service, but that's a challenge. Back to I loved, and I saved the link to that commercial about the pizza joint. It's like, you have to be careful. So there we start talking about, the early days of the Pro Business Channel and our story and how it segued to the Taste of NFL for nonprofits. And then we launched the Podcast World Tour, which is our, signature or inaugural nonprofit that we've adopted, we've aligned, but we don't want people just to be only limited to just that. So the idea of the Channel for Good, as you scroll down, we'll talk about, allowing people to tell their own story, their own nonprofit, their own philanthropic efforts, right? Because when we were on tour, and obviously it's been on hiatus since COVID, so that's basically how we, created the directory. The directory probably wouldn't exist if not for COVID. So part of the silver lining, to COVID-19. But so those are some of the kids from the center that we've worked with, and then we, feature our 2-minute video. But and then on the GoFundMe page, I'm going to retool that a little bit, because I just had this aha moment the other day. Is like the thing is called Channel for Good, and so when you ask people to make a donation, because GoFundMe is different than other crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you can actually put in tier levels. I can put a $5, you get a thank you card, $15, you get this, whatever, right? GoFundMe doesn't have any perks, rewards built into it, and it doesn't allow you to create any levels of suggested donations. So when somebody goes to GoFundMe, and if you look at the domain name Channel for Good, the idea there is, what are we asking? Ryan might feel like, well, I'll put in $25, and then Toby may think like, well, geez, if it's less than $100, it won't make an impact. And if you put, and you can choose to have your name attached to it or be anonymous, but if your name's attached to it, dang, Bob only put in $5. What a cheap, dude or whatever, right? And so, or I don't have $100. Not everybody can put in $100 or $1,000.
Well, that's why a lot of those donation things you always seem like, John gave $5 and that's going to feed a kid for a year for $5, and you're like, holy crap, I can feed a kid for a whole year for $5. I'll donate $5, or like I want to help 20 kids. Here's $100.
Right.
So I think putting some sort of previous donations, or the old pop-ups here with the FOMO kind of thing, but it's not really fear of missing out. It's just knowledge of other people donating. Like, hey, there's a lot of people donating here. I want to jump in too, or what that donation is doing. That may be something good to add.
Well, the reaction, I like that idea. It'd be hard to, maybe not hard, but it'd be a challenge to kind of tool that, but it's not impossible. But one thought is to play off the, we added another domain name for the change, and then making, instead of the word for, making it the number 4, and basically just saying, and it'll be like on the front page here as well as on the GoFundMe page, but it'll just be donate $4. All we're asking is very specific, change for good, and emphasizing the number 4 in all the branding. And, and all we ask is $4.
You could do that. I mean, that's what the PR does here, right? They're like, for only a donation of $1 a month, you can help support the channel. And then when they get you on the call, they're like,
right.
What's your donation? Like $1 a month. They're like, oh, that's great. Did you know that if you did $10 a month, you also get a DVD of the entire series?
Right.
Like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But that way, for friends and family, email list, our Pro Business Channel list and all of our other email list, whatever, but also for the directory members, we can just say, make it real clean, real simple. Back to that kind of pizza commercial of where their mission got way convoluted and diluted. So just say the brand now is channel, the number 4 for good, channel for good. All we're asking is $4. We're not asking for any more, right? And so when you see Bob on there from Buffalo for $4, and Ryan from Michigan $4, and Sarah from Sarasota for $4, it's like, great. Nobody feels like.
And something you may want to do too. And let me just talk about this on the back end here for everybody, and then we'll open it up to other people here in a second here for some comments as well. But one thing you can do on the financial plans here in the back end for any particular membership level is you can also change after they sign up for a particular plan. You can change the initial destination after they make the plan that normally goes to the dashboard. You can change it to something totally new or different. So,
we could go to the mission.
So right here, redirect after sign up. You can also change the redirect after login, but redirect after sign up, you could do, instead of the dashboard, you can just go to the page that you make and then treat it like they did at the checkout lane at the grocery store the other day. For me, they're like, do the old, would you like to, round up your bill to the next dollar to donate to homeless children in the local area? And then nobody in their right mind would say, heck no, I'm not paying for any kids' food. Everybody always says, yeah, round it up, right? And so you could do the same thing on yours, redirect them to the dollar for good to say, thanks, thanks for signing up. We'd also like to let you know about our charity that to help out the whatever. You give your little little pitch. And all we ask is $4. Are you willing to help us with this initiative by adding $4 to your total today?
Go ahead and change that to good. Go ahead and change that redirect to good instead of home.
Okay, done. Well, that was again that was for that was new. Okay, so there we go. But anyway, so hopefully everybody can see how to do that. If you haven't thought about that or whatever, you can direct it. So now after they sign up, they're going to go straight to this page. Now you want to make sure it makes sense, so they're not they're signing up and coming here and they're like, well, "What's this?" Right. I just signed up. How do I get to my account or whatever? So you may want to have good to, or something different or whatever, just to put a little go to dashboard thing on here for that page or whatever, so you can at least get back to the dashboard on the other page.
I can just clone. I'll just clone that page, and then on the redirect, it'll have that little extra message of thanks for joining the community. Before you go to your homepage, we ask you to support $4 for Change for Good. Otherwise, click here to go to your back to your login or back to your dashboard. Yeah, and so going back to the and that's a great thing. That's cool. They actually had the word purpose on it too, and that's a great example. And so again, maybe your business, and this is how companies survive a long time. We went over a couple weeks ago on what was it, Nokia, right? The phone technology company started out as a paper mill, right? And so they obviously don't do paper mills anymore, right? But they went through the oil industry and eventually went to electronics, whatever. So the purpose and the drive or the mission of a company can overcome or transcend what you're doing for that particular day, right? So just because maybe that purpose is that slide like he was showing there, and that's what you're really all about. The fact that you just happen to have a podcaster directory where you sell memberships is kind of just it's one of those things that you're doing, but maybe the goal is larger than that. So you can kind of shift the world around there. Like if this was rotating, right, you can shift the world around your purpose there and still maintain that vision of what you want for you or your company or whatever, and not really care that things are changing in the background, because it wasn't really about the directory or about the podcast. It was about the purpose, and you can still do that by doing something else or shifting gears or adding stuff on or whatever. So great example. Anybody else have any comments or inputs on that? Toby, you are quiet today. Are you still there? Jump on. Feel free. Anybody else? Make sure I didn't miss anything.
I'm here in listen only mode.
Okay, no worries.
Creating voices.
Anthony, Mike, Paul, Ronnie, anybody else? Otherwise, we can sign off for today. We are at time, so give you one last chance there for anybody. All right. So hopefully you guys got something out of that today. Again, we'll be going further on the purpose. And again, I don't have a preview slide here for that, but again, we'll in future weeks here we'll start talking about the proposition or the what of your business, right? And help you define the problem set, right, of what your value proposition of your company is. Now that hopefully you've and if you guys take this away as a lesson there, or you want to bring some stuff up next week, feel free to do that. Some examples of maybe some stuff that you thought about. But once you have that purpose and that long-term goal or whatever, then we can start working on the, creating that irresistible offer, getting that value proposition for your business, and start thinking about what problems that you're solving for your client base and stuff like that. So we'll start talking about your offering and value proposition next week. So that'll be the game plan. So. Any last minute questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian, real quick. Just envisioning redirecting people to the instead of the homepage or whatever to the purpose page, if you will. What would be you think the easiest? Let's say best practice, but the easiest from the tech standpoint to kind of collect that $4 right on the homepage. Instead of bypassing to a GoFundMe, which people would be comfortable for. I tried to put the embedded code. Because GoFundMe does offer an embedded code, but I couldn't get it to sync with BD. Okay.
Well, I mean, we can probably get that to work. You're asking, obviously it's probably best to have it on the page. So you don't have to go anytime. We've talked about this before. Anytime they have to add, if you're relying on them to click that button when they've got stuff to read here, they're probably not going to click that. And are you expecting that looks just like a logo to me? I wouldn't necessarily click on that, even though I know it does, right? And And then, are you expecting them to scroll all the way down here? And then that looks more like something that you want me to go to, but are you expect them to come all the way down here and click that to donate, right? So anytime that you have a delay or they have to do another click, it's obviously you're going to get less conversion rate than just having the, thanks for joining. Do you want to join? We have $4. Would you like to do that for this cause? And then you can say learn more down there. And then I'll have to go add, click the button right there or add, pay right there. That's probably the best way to do that. So we can probably get it to work in there. We just need to maybe set that up offline here.
Or would we, because we could probably, I'm sure, with your skills, we could probably get the embedded code to work within the site, which would probably be potentially ideal because people are familiar or comfortable with probably the GoFundMe page. And then it does tell, basically I kind of created the entire thing on GoFundMe and then replicated it, which actually works a lot better on BD because GoFundMe just has like your first paragraph and then you have to keep clicking learn more to get down to the bottom. Okay. So it's not as intuitive or user friendly, but I guess my point is, would we do like just a $4 donation right on the home page and bypass GoFundMe and just go to like a shopping cart kind of thing just to stay on the page and kind of allocate funds, somehow just collect the funds right on the site?
You could. I mean, sometimes that's a little bit harder to do, it doesn't look as legit if it's not going to a donation type center. But you definitely you could lead it to a product page that just tells about it, has the image, and it says click here to donate, and it's just $4. They'll just charge their credit card on file since they're now signed up, and just charge their credit card for that, and you just have to take that money and donate it. There may be another. I'm just saying I don't even know if GoFundMe is the right thing to use. To be honest, I know there's other ones like Circle Up or Funding Circle. The reason I'm saying is usually when I have an aversion to the word GoFundMe because it sounds like normally that started out as people asking like I lost my house in the fire, GoFundMe, give me money. Looks like funding me as opposed to a legitimate cause, if that makes sense.
That's a good point. No, I kind of struggled with I want it to go to the channel for good, and we outline how we're going to utilize the money because we're going to create a whole nother platform just for nonprofits. And I've had some people already respond to it and want to add their nonprofit to the, if you will, basically it's going to be like an ESPN for sports, food channel for, foodies. Our pro business channel is for business. This will be for, basically companies, especially a lot of companies that are just doing good, have, philanthropic efforts. So it's not exclusively, it doesn't have the word nonprofit because we've actually had nonprofit radio in the past, but this is just a channel, like a TV channel, a podcast channel, a YouTube channel, but it's a channel for people, organizations, companies, that are doing good, and to kind of tell their story. But I had a similar. I didn't want it just Kickstarter or that's mostly like tech. Indiegogo is like for artists and creatives, podcasters, musicians, and so forth. GoFundMe is like for that nonprofit, and they do have a nonprofit kind of messaging in there. But I agree, most of them are for people that have a tragic family situation and that kind of thing. So I was trying to find one that had more of a cause, element and messaging or platform, but also one that people are comfortable with, right? Because you can have one that's geared towards raising money to launch a project, but they're like, oh, I've never heard of this Pave. I don't know if that's a platform I should donate to or not. Just like you said, I don't know if I want to donate, but it's only $4. So even if we keep it $4 and keep it on the platform, the beauty about staying on BD is you already have their credit card on file if they're obviously if they're a paying member, right? Through Stripe, and so they've already paid and been comfortable. But the majority, like Uber and Spotify and everybody else, especially Spotify, most of their members are non-paying, so there's no credit card on file. It's only the people that upgraded their Spotify account,
Right. Well, maybe we can take this offline, or we can talk about this offline. A little foreshadowing here. Maybe we can work something out because may or may not have a solution for that. That may or may not be called
I think it has the word directly and .com in there. Yeah. Oh, look at you.
Straight in there.
So,
hey, Toby, that was no setup either. Yeah.
No, I've been searching, the World Wide Web for names.
Well, you go at
DirectoryCrowdfund.com. Will be coming. I don't have that up yet, but
if you're searching the web for any domain name that has the word directory in it, just throw in the tal because Ryan already has all those locked up.
You already have it, so don't even try to embezzle it. Try to sell me anything.
To resell it. So, what are you thinking with this directory crowdfund?
It'll basically you'll be able to set up your own crowdfunding campaign for your directory. So.
Oh wow! Okay, I'm in.
I don't know where that'll tie into our current series, but I'll lean into looking at that a little bit more, and then maybe I'll let you know when if you want to be or take a look at it, and I'll let you know when I got it set up. So.
I can be the guinea pig for that.
All right.
It'll be called Directory Riches.
Right.
Nope. You go ahead and register that one. I do not have that one.
Yeah, he's gonna make that one pretty little. Hey, Toby, anything in your part of the world where is commonly used or adopted in terms of, people are comfortable with donating?
I was involved in a site many years ago, early 2000s, doing that, but we were using it for events.
Okay.
So where people would go off and do a 54-mile walk and raise money for different charities, and that was important to make sure that the charities actually got the money, directly rather than indirectly. And something that was then set up at that time, and it still goes, it's called justgiving.com. But that's much more to do with the charities all sign up to Just Giving, and then the individuals sign up for a Just Giving account, and then go to their mates and say, I'm going to do this walk or this marathon or whatever it is. Do you want to sponsor me? And the money goes directly to the charity. But the backside of that was that also Just Giving is also a tax benefit to the charity and to the individual, because if you give some money, the tax man will give the tax back if the money's gone to the charity.
Right.
And that's called Just Giving. So it was a neat play on words from their point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan, can you pull that site up? Just Giving, take a sneak peek at that. And then while you're doing that, because I would like to find a platform, but it's a balancing act of what people are familiar with, but also that integrates with BD, the back to the embedded feature. And the other upside to of the GoFundMe is they take 0% of all the money you raise, whereas Kickstarter, Indiegogo, pretty much all of them, it can be upwards of 9%. So you're pushing over, 12, 13%, or upwards of 15% of your money between the payment processing, which is payment processing, you got to pay no matter what. But and what's sneaky though about GoFundMe is, it's legit when they say 0, they don't take 0% from either side of the transaction. But as soon as you click on it, it's preset for them to get, I think 18% or something like that as a tip, which is built into the shopping cart, and people can manually override that and, drag it. But it's like a dragging icon. It starts at I don't know if it's 18, but something pretty high. They can drag it back to 0, but most people aren't going to realize that's an option. So they just pay the extra money that goes right to GoFundMe. And obviously those platforms have to make money.
It was we went to a charity or an event the other day in town. It was no charge, right?
Right.
And we got that's how they advertised it. And then we got to the line to go park at it was just at a school. It was a Christian school, but private school or whatever. Right. But we got in there and everybody's in line to park, and it says it says free parking, $10 donation.
Exactly.
I'm like, what?
Right.
Everybody's paying $10 to go in, so we paid the $10. But I'm like, it's really not. I mean, I guess you could say no, but like it says parking $10 donation.
Then you
actually
like
didn't say free; it just said parking. It said parking $10 donation. I'm like, well, is it $10, or are you just telling me you're going to donate the $10 I give you, or is it really a donation? And so.
Right.
Yeah, I think, Rich, you have to be quite careful. There are some of those sites that you've mentioned just now, and you only mentioned 2, if not 3. But I've had experience with one of them, and they have promoted a business that looked extremely interesting, and lots of people jumped on the bandwagon and invested. But sadly, it went nowhere. The money went down the tube or went into their pockets, and none of the customers saw any of the product, and still haven't, and never will.
Yeah, and you obviously want to make sure it stays legit. Like we have this place called locally. It's actually kind of weird. They do a lot of good things, but they're called B2B outlet stores. But it looks like one of these like Christian organizations or like a religious organization that like does charity stuff or whatever. And it has all these outlets that are like you are not used, but they're new stuff, but they buy get it in bulk from places and resell it or whatever. But it's like an outlet store, but it all looks like a charity on the inside or whatever. And they have like this story and mission or whatever. And they don't put it really anywhere on here. They do a lot of good stuff or whatever. And so a lot of people go there and they have the same thing. But
Jason, B2. At B2, we want to invite you to partner with us.
So like partner with that. Anyway, it looked like a charity stuff. And then I was looking at doing something with them because I thought it was like a really big thing store around here in charity. They got like Restoring Hope and Vision and stuff like that. Yeah. Like and they're doing a lot of good stuff. But then I contacted them and about the charity, like for donations and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, we're not charity." And I'm like, "Oh, you're not?" And they're like, "No, we're a for-profit company." And I'm like, "Oh, I had no idea." Like, and so I actually was turned off a little bit in that respect because I thought it was a nonprofit the way they had it structured. And it almost seemed like not just that they were trying to do that, it seemed like wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing. I thought it was a nonprofit and they're a for-profit company. So I actually have no idea how much they're actually doing this because it's a for-profit company and they're giving some of it, but I don't know. Was it 2% of whatever they make? I don't know, Right. I mean, it's a good company they're doing stuff, but I think you have to, like Toby was saying, you want to make sure it's on the up and up. They actually get the money that they're donating and all that stuff, or make sure that's clear. So.
I certainly, this Just Giving is a good site. I have an issue with it in the sense that the Just Giving collects the money and keeps the money for more than 30 days before giving it to the charity.
Okay, so their money is we're just getting interest off from you giving us money. We're the pastor agent, and we get all the interest money, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. But they do manage to collect from the government. They collect the tax back from the government. So it is, that they are doubling. They are effectively putting another 28% on top of what they're already collecting. So it does make sense. It's just that my view in what I was doing back in, this is, as I say, early 2000s, was that if we were collecting data such as a donor's name and address, that donor's name and address should go to the charity, and the charity should have the ability to be able to use it. And in this case, they don't. They don't get to find out who it was that was giving the money.
Huh.
So,
I mean, that kind of comes full circle on, and we can kind of maybe A/B test it, but of just routing the $4 directly into BD instead of all these other entities. And again, if we just keep it pretty simple, like you said at the store, if you're just rounding up a couple of bucks, it's not going to be a game changer. But if we did that, is there a way we can kind of bucket that money? So like on our back end, we can separate funds as far as saying, okay, this month we have $150. That's for Channel for Good, not for, Podcasters Directory.
The only way to do that is kind of split it out by membership level, or you could see where the payments were coming in. Somebody asked me this the other day, and you can search for stuff in the payment stuff, but you can't. Which I'm not obviously going to show yours, there, Rich, but you can't. You can't export it. Like, you can search for a time frame or certain membership levels, and it'll spit out that data. But I don't see a way to export that data in any usable form other than seeing it on the screen. Like, hey, from June 1 to June 30 of this year for this particular product, how much did I make? And then that'll show that. But
because the big push, we have a number of milestones like 4th of July. August, first week in August for Podcast Movement. We're going to be promoting it there. Then International Podcast Day in September. But it's all leading to November Giving Tuesday in November. That's like our official launch. And so, part of this funding is going to establish the legal aspects of the 501(c) and all that stuff. And but so my question is, that's one of the benefits of having it go all to the GoFundMe or a certain page, because if we have 1,500 or 15,000 just in that page, we know exactly that was the intents of those funds. Yeah. But on BD, to kind of just be creative, could we route, because it's a single payment, so it's not a membership plan. And, you're not asking you to join another membership plan. It's basically just going to like the products or services. We created like a product, right, that they can purchase.
Yeah, it's a digi product, which they purchase.
Yeah. So if it's a digi product, and they're all $4 increments, basically, because it's preset at that amount, right? Because on all of those products, from uploading a video to, putting photos or any content on there, you can make it free, or you can charge them free for the first one and $5, whatever you want to charge for all the other ones. So we just make it every time they order that digital product, it's $4. And then, so here's the kicker. Could we assign that digital, this is probably not possible, but I'm just thinking out loud. Could we assign that digital product to a different Stripe account or a different payment portal? Or we would just have to separate the funds and redirect them? Or
I don't know that you can put on two different payment methods. It's like one Stripe account. I don't think you can. You're talking about for products, right? Being on one Stripe account and everything else on another Stripe.
Yeah, they're not set up for that at the moment.
Okay.
They don't. And Jason, I had a chat with him about it a while ago. He's not intending for that to happen, but didn't either Yakin or.
Didn't rule it out.
Somebody else has created something, but they charge a fair whack for that ability, just for the ability.
Yeah,
I think it's like $4,000 a year or something, just for the ability.
Wow. Yeah, so kind of almost defeat the purpose of.
Yeah, just for what you're doing. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, there's like he's got an e-commerce one, but.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we'd have to just kind of do an accounting thing and. Just withdraw all those funds that.
Just be very careful. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but just be very careful about the laws and regulations for documentation on taking money. And there was another person that said that they were, people were donating and they were giving all the money after their administrative costs to the charity or whatever. And I'm like, be very careful about that one, right? Because people think that they're, providing the money directly, to them or whatever, and they're not. So,
yeah, there are some amazing documentaries, and from an English point of view, we only ever get to see documentaries of what goes on outside our country, and I've seen a few for America where there have been a lot of that, where people have said, we're gonna give money away after our administration fees, and then of course the administration fees are greater than the money that's received.
Wow.
And that happens a lot with your vets. A lot of your veterinary, military charities people who are raising money for the vets, and sadly they never get the money.
Yeah, we had a in the early days of our pro business channel, we had we over the years we've done special spotlight episodes for Veterans Day or Giving Tuesday or tying into Small Business Week or whatever, right? Themed kind of weeks or shows. So we've done Memorial Day episodes, Veterans Day. We did a Veterans Day episode, and we had about 4 different people on the panel, and we got a call, I think the next day or whatever, from this whatever, like lieutenant commander kind of guy. And he was very serious. He says, you realize the guy you had on there is a complete fraud. And he never actually even served in the military that he claimed. Everything he claims is a complete fabrication. And I was about shaking, in my boots, kind of like, and just felt so bad, because we can't research every guest. We can't, we don't have the team to kind of vet every person that comes, through our network. Right. And I thought, well, who am I to believe? The guy that I had a face-to-face conversation was in the studio, or this random phone call, right? So we had to do some Google searching. And then later I thought about, there was another veteran guy that was in there that's actually a big time in martial arts, MMA fighter. And what's that?
Is it Chuck Norris?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he was the real deal, so to speak. Right. And there was an interesting vibe that was happening that I didn't put couldn't attach anything to it while I was in the studio. But later in the fact, found out he kind of knew something about this guy as well. And so we had to go back to the show and completely edit him out of there. So yeah, it's always, you got to have this complete transparency, and people are always going to raise questions, as they should, if it's legit. But I mean, that's another selling point to staying with the GoFundMe, is that they have all that stuff covered, as far as the platform and the, not just the brand awareness. And the other thing is, if it gets enough traction, there could be a lot of people that have never even been to Podcasters Directory that want to support a channel for good. In the state that our media is in, and all of the, just fighting amongst people, and 87% of the media being negative, and they're not telling any of the good stories that people and individuals are actually doing. I think there's a big vacuum and a need that people would support, whether they unrelated to the directory.
All right, so I got we got a live fundraise already set up here.
Oh, cool.
Switch over to it.
Nice. I knew you were working on something or whatever. Yeah,
my eyes are moving. So.
Yeah.
All right, so you can actually go check it out. DirectoryCrowdfund.com.
Okay.
It's up. So we got a recent campaign just got launched.
Oh, nice.
Channel for Good.
Oh wow, Channel for Good. It rings a bell for some reason. Yeah. Wow, Ryan, that looks cool. Let me go to the.
I put $10,000 as the fund goal there, but
that's what I kind of just targeted as.
So no contributors yet. No endorsements or updates from the crowd here, but anyway, so you can watch. Anybody can go there. You can watch your video there.
What's it called?
Very inspiring video.
Who's these guys?
They're amazing rock stars. Yeah. What do you mean?
Who's that guy in the orange shirt?
That's the dude you're talking about.
Yeah. Who cares about that? Let's talk about Nick.
Nick's the other dude. Yeah.
Did you add that in there? I don't remember that being overlays being there.
Yeah,
that was been there. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much been there. Yeah, yeah.
Because people kept on asking who he was.
Right. Well, that's why I put the name on there. What's the website again? It's Directory
Crowdfund.
Okay.
Day of Silence. It was.
So anyway, I haven't fully turned everything on or set it up. I just thought I'd show you what it kind of looks.
Oh, it's not active right now?
Was that? No, I mean it's on there. If you go look at it, I was just demoing it, but
I must have a typo in here because I'm not getting it. Directory crowdfund.
Yeah, crowdfund.
Not coming up on this end here. Directory crowdfund.com.
Yeah.
We put the link in the chat. Maybe I'm missing something here. But, it's not coming up on this end here. But yeah, it looks way cool. And then, I mean, the beauty about that is if they're on the directory.
So Anthony threw out another site there, Give Butter. So you can check that one out as well. We can throw that in.
Give Butter. Better or butter?
That's what I thought. He put butter. No, it is butter.
Yeah.
I thought that was a typo too. I'm like, we'll see what comes up. Give Butter.
Let's see it here. Give Butter. This butter, is it
I mean, so here, that actually brings up a good point here of a donate button. You could always do that as well, and just take it, put that on the page. So somebody asked, actually, I think it may have been Toby, asked for me to put a donation button on my webinar page. So I actually did that. I'll just show you that. Here's an example of something you could do as well. Just put one of those donate buttons on there that again is tied to a separate billing account. So I've got that on here. If you want to give a thank you donation, it'll just pop up and you can add your name, email, and just pay a donation amount, right?
So we could do a pop up like for Square payments instead of Stripe or something.
So if you got a pricing on Give,
or you could just use another Stripe bucket. I think you can get different API key for a different bucket just to have in the same account. But
right,
so that's an option. Just do something like that.
If you go to pricing on Give Butter, and scroll down a bit, it compares all the large guys.
So it has some other examples of.
Yeah, Kickstarter, DonorBox, Classy, Givey, or something. Yeah, scroll down a little bit more. That go up between frequently asked questions.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So then,
so there's some other DonorBox. I couldn't think of that one. And then PayPal. That's what I was saying. Just use your PayPal or another account.
Which is we talked about this at some webinar or whatever about I think I brought it up in the Brilliant Directories webinar, but the question was when you have your directory, should you compare your services to competitors and show, do you just mention them by generic names? Like you could pay an agency to book you on podcast for $5,000 a month, or you could use our service, as opposed to you could hire, Ryan's booking agency now, like they have. So then you have their brand on there. So some of these I might not have heard of, and you're potentially routing your customers to these other.
Yeah, but if you're confident in your less than 1% fee, they're like, there's no way they're going to choose us. Actually, I think Jason actually did that. They showed one of their competitors on the.
So click that link saying check out the side-by-side comparison. But go down a bit.
Does it actually
go down?
Do a comparison?
Down.
down. Okay. No, well.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
It brings them all up.
Wow.
Oh, nice. There's even more. Perfect.
But yeah, I think if you know that you're in better than your competitors, I think it's the way to do it, right? I mean,
yeah, that's a great one.
But it also does another thing with the SEOs, is that by using your brands, your competitors' brands in your website, you're effectively getting marketing on the back of it.
Yeah, feel free to link back to me. Compare yourself to me, I dare you, and then they link back to your page, right?
Yeah.
So in doing that, let me show you one of my direct competitors here. Here's Gabriel's site, treehousemarketing.org. So if you guys want any marketing stuff from another BD developer, here we go. There's Gabe.
Yeah, I've been looking for another BD developer. Thanks
for you. Great. Yeah, no problem. Let's go down to his pricing. Where's his pricing at? Let's see.
I clicked on the link, directory crowdfund, It looks awesome, man. Wow. Help support channel for good.
Let's see, directory setup. So he's got a pretty Gucci site here. There's the step stuff. Let's there you go. $900 basic setup.
Wow.
Way expensive. Gabriel's way expensive.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go with him. I'm just joking.
Did you turn off the recording yet or no?
No, we're still live. Hey, Gabe.
Oh, great.
He lost me when I spoke to him before speaking to you.
Now I'm going to turn it off. I'm just joking. Exactly. So thank you for watching, Gabriel. We're now going to stop the recording. I will turn off. We'll talk about you after we stop recording. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But I am actually going to sign off here just so I don't take up too much of my video recording. So again, if you guys want to go to DirectoryVideos.com as a review, this will be up here. You guys can search for number 41. And then this one will show up on there again. This is not going to find anything right now because there's nothing on here. But actually, I was expecting their podcast 41 to show up, but maybe they didn't name that one. So anyway, we'll sign off for now on the recording here, and we'll see you guys next week.